Hey guys, gonna do a review here on the John Deere 5055D while we're waiting on see if it's gonna storm on us before we do some hay. It's got the 512 loader. Not a whole lot of information on YouTube or online about these, personal reviews of them. A lot of information about the E's out there. So I just thought I'd go over the D. I purchased it used. This is a 2013. When I purchased it, I believe that it had about 250 hours on it. Guy was wanting 4-wheel drive, and it was just a really good deal. It was pre-pandemic, so it was reasonable prices. Since then, and now it's got 454 hours. I've had it about a year and a half. Haven't really had any big problems with it. I've went through and serviced the entire machine. Used it quite a bit, mostly for hay. I'm going to kind of go over a little bit of the tractor here in case you're looking at one or curious about them. My understanding of this tractor is it's pretty much like the old 5000 series 5203 or something like that. It's 55 horsepower. I think it's like 52 at the PTO. It does everything I need it to do, which is small squares. 3029 I believe is the engine that it's got here. It's a 3-cylinder John Deere guy in there. It does have a exhaust filter for the emissions, but no depth, no regen. That was kind of a deal killer for me if it did have that stuff. Everything's pretty simple. It's kind of an old school tractor, kind of like a tractor from the 80s or 90s from John Deere. It's not real fancy, not real bougie. It's got a couple of, it's missing a couple of features that I do wish it had. I'll kind of go over those with you and kind of what we've done to work around some of that. One thing that I've noticed about a lot of the John Deeres, I'm not sure about the E's, but down here on the loader, you can only do one function at a time. It's kind of aggravating. If you're kind of smooth, unlike me, you can kind of feather it each way and get it to curl and lower at the same time, or curl and raise, but it doesn't do that on its own. It doesn't have a position there for that. It didn't have a work light on it. I thought that was kind of strange. So what we did was we installed just from Amazon or whatever, this marine grade switch box over here for lights, and it also has a little digital voltmeter. And then on the canopy, which is a factory John Deere canopy, we installed these LED lights all the way around, because it seems like when you're doing small squares, it doesn't matter when you start, it's always 1 o'clock in the morning when you finish. And a light bar in the front, because the only lights this tractor had were the kind of puny incandescents on the front. And oddly enough, the way the switch is set up, when you run those on low beam, your flashers illuminate, and so that was actually kind of hurt you out in the field. And then with the front end loader, you basically can't use those lights. Go over the transmission a little bit. You've got 2 ranges, A and B, and then you've got 4 gears. So your ranges are over here. You've got A all the way forward, and then B back and to your left when you're sitting in the operator station. Reverse is straight back from A. It's a sync reverse, so my understanding of that concept is you don't have to come all the way to a stop for like loader work, or at least that's how I use it. You've got all your gears here, 1 through 4. So you've got 8 forward gears in 2 different ranges, and then 4 reverse gears. Seems to be pretty good for me. You've got your speed chart down here, right there. You can see it. I do most things in my A range when I'm in the field, and I only use B when I'm on the road. And usually it's B3 or B4 going down the road. It's single remote, which is okay. It's an economy tractor, so that's fine. I'm probably going to get a splitter to use, but that does everything I need it to do right now. Of course, you got your lift and your draft control. That's pretty standard stuff. PTO, very John Deere-ish over here. That's on, that's off. Very simple cluster here. It's very dirty, I apologize. All analog, kind of old school. But that all works very well. It does have things that I think are kind of bougie, like a foot throttle. So that's nice. With the canopy, it's a deceivingly loud tractor. From the operator station, it's very quiet if you're next to it. But everybody that's been around it's like, wow, that tractor's louder than I thought it was going to be. 14.9/28, I think that was an option for the rear tires. This one does have that, and it's loaded with beet juice. It's a decently heavy tractor for a more modern tractor. So I don't really have any problem with ballast. I mean, I picked up 4x5 round bells with nothing on the back. No problem there. And pretty commonly use it with a grapple to pick up 8 square bells, and that's never been a problem either. On the back, it's category 2. I believe that it was an option that you can get category 1. Mine's category 2. Does have the trailer hookup in the rear, so you've got power back here if you need that. I like where the fuel tank's located. I gotta say that coming from where I came from, which was like ancient tractors compared to this, this is a big upgrade for me. It is 2-wheel drive. All the D's, I believe, were 2-wheel drive. But it does well for what I'm doing with it and where I'm doing it. Not feeding hay in the wintertime or anything like that. Most of the time in the wintertime, they're sitting still. So it's got your 512 loader, which is, again, the economy loader. It's not self-leveling or anything. It does have the John Deere quick attach, which don't have a problem with. It's done everything I need it to do. We needed hydraulic power out front, so I've got some super duper long whips that I just leave in place that run up to the front. I just ran them, put them in some John Deere sheathing, and ran them to the front. I just got them tied up right now because I'm not using them. Mine did come with the optional brush guard on the front bumper. So it's been a good tractor. I've heard a lot of people talk about the hydraulics. I've used the hydraulics quite a bit. Never had a problem with it. I serviced the tractor when I first got it and used all John Deere stuff. Went completely through it. Just keep it clean, keep it greased, and check the oil. Coming up on another service pretty soon now. But I haven't had any problems with it. People have a lot of stones to throw at, like this little toolbox and stuff. It's been fine for me. Haven't really needed a whole lot of tools. One other thing I will say is this little fuse box right here. I knocked this thing off with my foot one day, apparently. Hit the clutch and my toe hit the fuse box like that right there. I didn't realize it, but it had knocked it off. And I don't know if I ran over it or what, but I lost it. And that thing was pretty expensive just for the cover. And so I kind of redneck here. I zip tied it back on just because I didn't want to have that happen, because I do notice now that I'm aware of it, my foot or my toe sometimes will hit it. So I don't want to buy that again, and I don't want to be without it because it's just a bunch of exposed fuses right there. The other thing I'll say is that I noticed on the E models, there's a plexiglass shield up here. The floor of the E's is a little bit different down here, but they have a plexiglass shield up here on both sides. And I think that's to kind of deflect heat. I'm not sure, because on this tractor, when it's hot outside and say you're running a baler or you're working it pretty hard and going kind of slow, all that heat from the engine just comes back onto your feet, onto your toes. Kind of whiny, I guess, but that's probably my biggest issue with this tractor is just how hot the floorboard gets and your feet get when you're doing that kind of work, which is basically the only kind of work this tractor is doing for me. So I'm working on trying to come up with something to kind of deflect that, but also don't want to limit the flow of air across the radiator. So I think it's kind of a balance, but I'm probably going to throw something up there and just see if it helps. But I don't have the area to work with like you do on the E's. It's kind of hard to see in there, I'm sure. It's hard for me to get it oriented correctly, but there's just not a whole lot of good places to put it because of where your pedals end up going. You can see in there, they go pretty far forward. But yeah, that's kind of my review of this tractor. Really like it. It's fit my operation very well. No major problems. Just manage your expectations. It's kind of an old school tractor, which is exactly what I wanted. It's 2-wheel drive. You don't have all the gears. I think some of the new ones are 3x3 or 4x3. This is just 4x2. And all of it's non-synchronized, so it's kind of old school, but been a tough tractor. I mean, I'm not super duper hard on it, but I'm not going out of my way to be easy on it either. But it's been a good tractor for me. Hope this helps you guys. Have a little review on this in case you're looking at one. See ya.